Let me first address the archons because, we're going to go over this several times in our lives. And it's because, not only is it just a part of popular occult knowledge, but it also is something very real that people begin to deal with personally. And then they just give it the title archon because it seems to fit the bill as far as being somewhat of nefarious, somewhat of a malevolent side. The interesting thing is when we start to research the dynamics of the human being and the spirit that's within us, we actually discover that its origins is not from this particular point in time. This is a point in time that we're experiencing now in human bodies, which are a certain type of geometry and can offer a certain type of expression, but this is not our first time. This is not our first rodeo. And in fact, our first rodeo had to do in another body, which we can call the diamond body or the daemon body. And this particular body is very resilient. It does not actually die. So although it can, well, nothing dies, but what I mean is that it could get pretty pelted and damaged and weathered by time and still be in existence. In fact, that seems to only polish it further. That doesn't mean that in appearance that it looks beautiful. A lot of times that people could see this as a monster. And so this is why you find this kind of parody in the reality about, beautiful monsters or the energy of a monster being its real beauty, while its beast is, of course, its appearance and, in its expression. And we're actually in a reality now that they harness beasts, meaning that you see it. It's like, going on safari and they go out on safari and they hunt the most dangerous animal, right? And that's because they want the challenge of actually overcoming something that is a formidable opponent and actually showing it that its strength is not always superior to intelligence. And that's the most important thing to remember about where we're still at in the aspect of our intelligent mind being able to tame this beast within. So you don't go nuts out there snatching purses, getting, girls the way you want them and, all these different things because, and, stealing at the job and, hitting somebody in the face because they said crazy stuff to you, because you begin to restrain that part of yourself, that wild side of yourself, sometimes imbalanced side of yourself, with this knowledge and wisdom. And then it shows you truly that the pen or knowledge and intelligence is more powerful than the sword or brute force, because that's your ability to begin to subdue yourself with your own consciousness and begin to reason. But that doesn't make that energy go anywhere. It actually is always present and can either be learning and being trained by one's actions or quite fed up with one's actions because there's not enough expression. Because a lot of these primordial forms that we would call archons are actually aspects of our expressions. And because our expressions have two sides, it's like the diametrics I was telling you about today. I may be extremely intelligent and then simple stuff I miss. That's the kind of thing that goes on within the spiritual being. So the more actually that you magnify this perfected side of yourself, as you may claim it to be first because it's got this title on it that says good, the more you actually diametrically increase the strength and the power of the diametric force that is accompanied to that. And that's actually the only way that you can be in this reality. That's called a standing wave. In the event that one of those forces come out of balance, you start to appear less and less in the reality. And what I mean by that is that you start becoming more abstract. We can physically see your body, but if we're talking to you, we can tell that you're not here, you're not present. You're either in the future or you're in the past, anywhere but the now. And so this is what happens when the imbalances begin to occur between what a person calls their light side and what a person calls their dark side. And then with anything that wants expression, just like kids, they want attention. When you don't pay attention to those urges and those primordial forces and find how to transmute them, then they actually become what hinders your path. They become the hinderers, the accusers. Those are still the dark energies that are in the mind, the dark frequencies that can start to pervade the situation when you find yourself getting into high vibrations.